Yankees fans, gather around because things are heating up fast in the Bronx, and the offseason is already throwing curveballs that nobody expected. Every time you think the front office might slow down for a moment, another headline drops and changes the entire landscape of what the roster could look like next season. And trust me, what happened over the last few hours is the kind of move that shakes strategies, shifts priorities, and forces everyone to rethink how the Yankees are piecing together their blueprint for 2026. So let us dive right into what is turning into one of the wildest starts to an offseason in years. And we begin with a decision that caught a lot of people off guard, even though the possibility was always floating in the air. Trent Grisham accepted the qualifying offer, a one-year contract worth just over $22 million, locking him in as a key part of the outfield picture. This instantly changes how the Yankees approach the winter because Grisham is not just coming off a solid season. He's coming off what many describe as his best year yet. More than 30 home runs, more than 800 and on-base plus slugging, a big presence in center field across more than 140 games. You do not put up numbers like that without catching the attention of the front office. And clearly they were ready to welcome him back if he chose to take the deal. Now, what makes this move so interesting is not just the player himself, but the ripple effect it creates. The Yankees have spent the last several months making it clear that Cody Bellinger was one of their top priorities heading into the offseason. His versatility, his ceiling, his left-handed bat, his ability to handle center or corner outfield spots, all of that lines up perfectly with what they want. So naturally, fans began wondering if Grisham's acceptance meant the Yankees were pivoting away from Bellinger. But according to the internal conversations, that is not the case at all. The front office still plans to pursue Bellinger aggressively, and talks with his camp are expected to continue. That means the Yankees are fully prepared to navigate the financial puzzle of trying to fit both players into the roster and into a payroll that is already inching closer to the upper limits. But here is where it gets even more intriguing. If the Yankees manage to bring back both Grisham and Bellinger, suddenly the outfield becomes crowded in a way that opens the door for potential trades involving young talent. Names like Jason Dominguez and Spencer Jones instantly pop up because they are valuable enough to headline packages that could bring in pitching or other areas of need. Of course, if Bellinger signs elsewhere, then Dominguez likely steps right back into left field, and Jones gets a real chance to earn his way onto the opening day roster. The ripple effects go both ways depending on how the next few weeks unfold. And there is another twist to all this. Players who accept qualifying offers cannot be traded before mid-June unless they give their consent, which means even if the Yankees consider flipping Grisham to create financial space, doing that is not as simple as it sounds. So yes, the Yankees now have stability in center field, but they also have a complicated web of decisions tying together payroll, free agency, prospect development, and long-term planning. And speaking of payroll, this move pushes the Yankees closer to the luxury tax levels they have been trying to manage carefully. With Grisham's deal plus the early agreement with Ryan Yarbrough, the projected payroll is climbing toward a territory that ownership has previously suggested is not sustainable long-term. Yet the pressure to field a competitive team immediately is stronger than ever, especially with so many roster holes that still need attention. And that is only the first major update. Because while the Yankees were figuring out their outfield puzzle, another storyline exploded as news broke that Japanese right-hander Tatsuya Imai has officially been posted and is now available to negotiate with major league teams. This is the kind of pitcher who immediately becomes one of the most sought-after names on the market, not only because of his numbers in Nippon professional baseball, but also because of his age and his steady improvement over the last several seasons. A consistently low earned run average, a rising strikeout percentage, a sharply reduced walk rate, and a reputation for durability and command have made him one of the most talked about international arms in years. And make no mistake, the Yankees are very much in the mix. With Garrett Cole still recovering from Tommy John surgery, Carlos Rodon set to begin the season on the injured list, and Clark Schmidt not expected back until later in the year, the rotation is in desperate need of stability. As of now, the projected group is talented but very young, and the front office knows that any team with postseason aspirations cannot rely solely on improving arms for 6 months. That is where Imai becomes the perfect fit. He is not expected to cost as much as Yoshinobu Yamamoto did, but he will still command a major financial commitment along with a significant posting fee. Even so, the Yankees view him as a potential anchor in a rotation filled with question marks, someone who can stabilize the staff until the veterans return. And while they are also looking at other options, including Lucas Giolito, the ceiling, age, and consistency of Mai make him a far more appealing target. The timing of his posting adds even more pressure because teams have only 45 days to negotiate, which means decisions must be made soon, even as the Yankees still work on their outfield situation. On top of all these huge storylines, the Yankees also move quickly to secure a familiar face to help protect their pitching depth. Ryan Yarbrough is returning on a low-cost one-year deal, a move that might not grab headlines the way Grisham's decision or Imai's posting does, but is exactly the kind of smart, steady signing that keeps a team from falling apart when injuries pile up. Yarbrough was reliable last season, giving the Yankees valuable innings in both starting and relief roles, and his ability to shift between the bullpen and rotation is something the team absolutely needs as the season begins with uncertainty surrounding so many key arms. For a pitching staff that will need coverage early, this was a move that simply made sense. As all these decisions collide, what becomes clear is that the Yankees are operating in one of the most complex offseasons they have faced in years. Every signing affects another. Every negotiation shifts another priority, and every move shapes the next. And right now, fans are watching a front office trying to balance short-term pressure with long-term stability while the stove gets hotter by the day. And even with all those moving parts, the conversation around the Yankees keeps circling back to the same central question. What exactly is the front office trying to build for 2026, and how aggressive are they willing to be to fix the issues that held the team back last season? The truth is, every decision they make right now comes with consequences that stretch far beyond opening day. The return of Trent Grisham means they have immediate stability in center field, but it also tightens the payroll at the exact moment when they're trying to secure Cody Bellinger, who will not come cheap. It forces them to weigh how much they trust their young outfielders and how comfortable they're using top prospects as potential trade chips if they successfully bring back both players. It creates the kind of roster pressure that either sparks a major trade or forces them to make tough choices about who fits their long-term vision. While all of this is unfolding, the Tatsuya Imai situation looms even larger because the Yankees cannot afford to wait until the last minute to decide how hard to push for him. The rotation situation is simply too fragile. Max Fried brings frontline potential, but behind him the staff is filled with young pitchers who have limited experience carrying a full season workload. Lewis Gill, Cam Schlittler, Will Warren, and Alan Winans have shown flashes of promise. Yet none of them are the kind of guaranteed innings eaters that can stabilize an entire pitching staff. And with the uncertainty around Garrett Cole and Carlos Rodon, it becomes obvious that simply hoping everything breaks the right way is not an option. The Yankees need someone who can step in on day one and deliver quality outings without requiring extra build-up time or constant monitoring. And that is exactly why Imai's posting window might be the biggest storyline of their offseason. His numbers in Japan reflect a pitcher who has refined his command, sharpened his breaking ball, and learned to attack hitters with the confidence of a frontline starter. And the fact that he is still in his late 20s only increases his appeal. The Yankees have chased Japanese aces before, sometimes landing them and sometimes falling just short. But this time the stakes feel even higher because of the immediate need for rotation security. Whether the Yankees decide to go all in financially remains to be seen. But there is no doubt that the front office views Imai as one of the few pitchers on the market capable of changing the trajectory of the season. Meanwhile, Ryan Yarbrough's return serves as a quiet reminder that not every move needs to be dramatic to have value. His ability to glide between roles makes him the type of pitcher every contender needs, but rarely appreciates until the injuries hit. His strikeout rate was the highest of his career last season. His control remained steady, and his calm presence helped bridge innings whenever the bullpen was stretched thin. Bringing him back on a modest deal ensures that the Yankees start the season with at least one dependable veteran who can take pressure off the younger arms. It is not a flashy signing, but it is a smart one, especially with the pitching staff facing uncertainty until the middle of the summer. All of these moves together paint a picture of a front office that understands the urgency of the moment. The Yankees cannot afford another disappointing season, not when the expectations are high. The payroll is massive, and the fan base is hungry for a return to dominance. Every decision they make must balance financial constraints with the need to win immediately. They're trying to keep the core intact, strengthen the rotation, and find enough depth to survive the grind of a long season while still leaving room for the return of their top pitchers. And the reality is that the off-season has barely begun, which means more surprises are almost guaranteed. As talks continue with Cody Bellinger's camp, as negotiations begin with Amai, as teams reach out about potential trades involving Dominguez or Jones, the Yankees are navigating a maze where every turn leads to another set of questions. If they land Bellinger, how do they manage the outfield logjam? If they sign Amai, how do they balance the rotation once Cole and Rodon return? If they decide to trade one of their young stars, what kind of immediate impact player are they targeting in return? And perhaps the most important question of all is how much they are willing to push the payroll this year, knowing that the long-term concerns about sustainability will collide eventually with the competitive demands of the present. What is clear is that the Yankees are moving with purpose early in the offseason, making decisions that set the stage for even larger moves still to come. Fans can feel that momentum building, that sense that something big is on the horizon. Whether it is a blockbuster signing, a major trade, or a bold restructuring of the roster, everything is pointing toward an offseason that will define not just the upcoming year, but the franchise's direction for seasons ahead. With every update, the picture becomes clearer. The Yankees are not approaching this winter casually. They are preparing for a season in which they will need resilience, depth, and star-level performance to overcome early injuries and remain competitive until their full roster is restored. The moves already made hint at a front office fully aware of the challenges ahead, and the one still looming will determine whether this team enters the new year as a powerhouse or a project in progress. The tension, the anticipation, and the pressure are all rising together, and every fan watching knows that the next decision could be the one that shifts the momentum of the entire offseason. But before we continue, please remember to join our channel and give this video a like. Your support allows us to keep bringing you the latest news about the New York Yankees. Feel free to share your thoughts on the news in the comments. Whispers have begun to ripple through the baseball world, echoing from clubhouses to front office corridors, all pointing toward one electrifying possibility: Francisco Lindor at the heart of a bold new Yankees project. It is still nothing more than a murmur, a rumor shared in low voices and curious glances, but has already stirred a surge of excitement across the sport. The idea of the star shortstop crossing borough lines has sparked speculation about a seismic shift in the infield dynamics of the franchise. Some insiders suggest that the Yankees' leadership has grown increasingly determined to reshape their identity, seeking a steady, charismatic presence capable of anchoring both the lineup and the clubhouse. Lindor's name has surfaced repeatedly in these conversations, often accompanied by knowing smiles and carefully chosen words. Observers close to the situation say the organization has long admired his mix of defensive brilliance, offensive versatility, and magnetic personality, viewing him as the kind of figure who can elevate an entire roster. There are hints that preliminary dialogue may already be circulating behind the scenes. Agents, executives, and scouts have been unusually tight-lipped, a silence that only fuels the intrigue. Some believe the Yankees are exploring creative pathways to retool their infield with a centerpiece who brings both flair and leadership. Others argue that the very inclusion of Lindor in these discussions suggests something more ambitious than a routine off-season adjustment. In the Bronx, the possibility alone has ignited a wave of chatter among fans. Imagining Lindor patrolling the infield in pinstripes has become a favorite what-if scenario, stirring debates about lineup construction, defensive chemistry, and the long-term vision of the team. Even without confirmation, the rumor has taken on a life of its own, weaving through sports bars, social media threads, and whispered conversations at batting practices. For now, it remains just that, a rumor. But in a city where the smallest spark can ignite a wildfire of anticipation, the thought of Francisco Lindor becoming the centerpiece of a new Yankees blueprint feels tantalizingly real. Whether it fades into off-season folklore or blossoms into a blockbuster move, the baseball world will be watching, waiting for the next hint in this unfolding storyline. That's it for this update. If you enjoyed the video and want to keep receiving exclusive news about the New York Yankees, please subscribe to our channel and give us a like. We always appreciate your comments and opinions. See you in the next video.